When a wandering incident happens, anyone who's enrolled in this program, the great thing about the application, it gives that person's all of their demographic information, their date of birth, their medications, their emergency contact, their physical description. And then also, this is also tied to the National Missing Persons Database. So this is a 24-hour response when someone calls MedicAlert to say, hey, my loved one has gone wandering. We don't know where they are. And they're able to put out alerts, contact police. It's a whole emergency response system just because they are enrolled in this program.
Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style? Hi, welcome to today's episode of Aging in Style with Lori Williams. Today, we are talking about the Safe Return program. And if you haven't heard about the Safe Return program, that's fine because we've got the perfect person on here today to educate us on this program. Tanesha Tyler-Carr from the Alzheimer's Association is joining us again. She is the Programs and Services Coordinator for the Alzheimer's Association Dallas and Northeast Texas chapter. Tanesha obtained a bachelor's degree in applied behavioral analysis with a minor in dispute resolution at the University of North Texas of Denton. Tanesha has been with the association since 2012, and she works with caregivers and individuals with the diagnosis as a care consultant. And in her role as a consultant, she provides a one-on-one care planning, crisis management, information, and referral for families affected by Alzheimer's disease and other related dementia. So she is our expert to help us through all things Alzheimer's related. And so today we're going to be talking about the Safe Return program. But before we kind of get into what it is, we're going to talk about wandering as it affects people with dementia. And honestly, I didn't realize on the statistics that it was this high, that 70% of people with a diagnosis of dementia, Alzheimer's, will at some point wander. So tell us a little more about that, Tanesha.
Yes, thank you so much, Lori, for having me. That's true. Because of short-term memory loss, that is severely impacted. That's usually one of the first reasons why people know that something is going on within themselves or their loved ones. And that's true. 70% of people with Alzheimer's or another type of dementia will wander at some point in time. And that is because of the poor short-term memory loss. And when we think about wandering, what wandering typically is just really meaning that someone has kind of made their way away from the area that they're typically located. And, they may be going on a walk, they may be going on a drive. And wandering itself is not necessarily unsafe. There are ways for people with dementia to wander safely, especially if it's an activity like taking a walk, jogging, take a trip to the store, if it's purposeful, wandering in a way that actually is a way to be preventative when we talk about unsafe wandering, because it's purposeful wandering. It's purposeful activity to kind of keep that person moving and motivated. When we fall into the unsafe wandering, and that typically is when someone is getting lost and not able to retrace their steps to get back to their original location, which can be very dangerous for them. And then also when we talk about wandering, it can happen by foot. It can happen through other forms of transportation like train, plane, vehicle. And when wandering becomes unsafe is when a person is not able to retrace their steps, get back to their location of safety, and is going to continue moving with no intended destination or purpose in sight outside of, in that moment, just confusion and maybe going to a destination in that moment that is where they want to be, but without really any wherewithal or understanding of just safety. And so that's when it becomes unsafe.
Mm-hmm. And when you say safe wandering, do you mean that someone is with them when they're wandering, or they're just in at the state where they still know how to get home, but maybe they go to the grocery store and they're just wandering around because they enjoy just walking around and just seeing what's happening.
Something like that, preferably someone with them, or just a scheduled wander, a scheduled trip, maybe like you said, taking a trip around the block, but still able to go straight back to their location. Taking a walk, doing an activity where they're just up and moving. So that's definitely safe. And you want to try to incorporate that. That's also a way to prevent unsafe wandering where you're not able to track this person. And unfortunately, that can be a very dangerous situation because they're not able to retrace their steps and get back to their original destination. Family doesn't know where they are. People don't know where they are. And they're not able to really contact anyone in that moment, in their mind, in that incident. They're not contacting anyone to let them know where they are. And so they're going to a destination in their mind at that moment. And they're going to get there, through any means necessary.
Exactly.
And that can be very dangerous for them. And they can also be very vulnerable to who they encounter because of that.
And I have heard stories from families that, maybe mom was trying to get back to the house that they lived in 1970 because in her mind, she was still there. Her kids were little kids.
Or I have to go to work and maybe I'm retired, but I have to go to work, or I have to go get the kids from school, or I don't recognize where I'm at currently. This is not my home. And I need to go to my home.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about the Safe Return program and what that is.
Okay, well, the Safe Return MedicAlert program is through the MedicAlert Foundation. They've been established since, the early 50s. And when we think about medical ID bracelets for different conditions, the MedicAlert Foundation is the organization that supplies those. But those specifically for wandering support for those who have Alzheimer's, another type of dementia, or other cognitive disorders, for someone who has a high propensity to unsafely wander. This MedicAlert Safe Return MedicAlert Advantage program is appropriate for that population. So this is a 24-hour emergency response. The MedicAlert Foundation, there's a 24-hour call center. So when a wandering incident happens, anyone who's enrolled in this program, the great thing about the application, it gives that person's all of their demographic information, their date of birth, their medications, their emergency contact, their physical description. And then also, this is also tied to the National Missing Persons Database. So this is a 24-hour response when someone calls MedicAlert to say, hey, my loved one has gone wandering. We don't know where they are. And they're able to put out alerts, contact police. It's a whole emergency response system just because they are enrolled in this program. And typically people who are enrolled in this program, there are different options. There are dog tags, there are watches, there are bracelets. There's also recently new products. They have an Apple ID that they can put on their watch, as well as an identification card with that person's member number. And the member number is very important when someone is enrolled in this program, because if they are located, someone can just spit off that member number and it's already in the database with all of the information. And it allows for very quick reunions for families. And these are also sometimes associated with the silver alerts that we see as well.
Okay. And I'm sure there's a cost involved, but is it, I guess it depends which type of product you use, what the cost is.
Yes, there is a cost involved. There is an annual renewal fee to be enrolled in the program. And there's also the cost of the jury itself. And then also for it to be replaced, should your loved one lose it, which, can happen, especially with someone who's memory impaired. So the great thing is that there are chapters at the Alzheimer's Association, the Dallas Northeast Texas chapter specifically. We have a scholarship program for anyone who'd like to be enrolled in this program. And there are other chapters across the U.S. that may have scholarship programs. Not all chapters at the Alzheimer's Association have scholarship funds for this program, but there are some that do. And we will pay for the enrollment, and we will also pay for the jury. So what you can do to find out is if you have a local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association that has a scholarship program for this program specifically, then you would just contact our 1-800 number, our 24/7 number at 1-800-272-3900, and they can get you in contact with your local chapter to see if they have a scholarship program. If you are in need of scholarships to pay for this, the jury and the enrollment fee, or if you'd like to pay for it outright, we can get you in contact with the MedicAlert Foundation for this program.
Okay. Is there a site through your website for them to find the Safe Return program?
Yes. If they go to alz.org/medic, MEDICALERT, so all one word, alz.org/medic alert, it'll take them directly to our 24/7 Wandering Response Program page, where they will learn very specific details about the MedicAlert emergency response team and the program.
Okay. And see all the different types of jewelry that they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a button at the end of the page. If they scroll down where it says enroll online now, it'll take you directly to MedicAlert's page where they can get enrolled and learn all about the different products as well.
Okay, excellent. It's all about, giving tools, as many tools as we can to keep people safe. And, I say this all the time on the show. I 100% get it that you want to stay home as long as possible. I'm the same way. I want to stay home as long as I possibly can as well. But there does come a point when being home, even with as many supportive devices as we can find, it just is not enough any longer. And it may be time then to look at placement, look at a memory care, look at an assisted living, look at a residential care home, whatever may be the case for your need or your loved one's need. And there was a gentleman, sweet as could be, taking care of his wife. And as is the case with couples, it's usually one is the caregiver. And he was caring for his wife. He was not getting any rest. He was setting up where he had like an alarm that would go off if she would get out of her bed. He had like a little security camera, all this stuff going on. And he was exhausted. And one night he was looking for his wife and he found her. Somehow she'd wandered into the garage, closed the door, and couldn't figure out how to get out. So she was just walking in circles. No idea how long she was there, walking in circles in the garage. And that's when he knew, I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. She could have been hurt. And it was time to get her moved to memory care, where she is now. She's doing well, and he's back in his role as husband instead of caregiver. So I do want to throw that out there as well, that we do have so many things we do to support people where they are and keep them home. But at some point, it becomes about safety, and we have to make those decisions for placement.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, I love that this program exists. And I do remember my grandmother in the 90s had the bracelet. I think it was just called MedicAlert then, but she had a bracelet with her, I guess it had her name and must have had a number or something on it too. Be interesting. I'll see if my mother still has that. So, but thank you so much again for coming on our show. And I just, I love the information that you share with everyone about the Alzheimer's Association, and also letting people know. I refer people all the time to the Alzheimer's Association, but I don't think people realize how much information is out there. And maybe it is can be a little overwhelming. So I love that we're breaking down these different programs that you have. And, I look forward to, as I mentioned in one of our other podcasts, that we are going to monthly have Tanesha on so that we can talk about all these great programs through the Alzheimer's Association and just provide that education that people really need. So thank you so much, Tanesha, for being on the show. And
thank you for having me.
Always have such great information, and we will send people to the website. We'll make sure we have it on the podcast and also on my website. So anyone who wants to learn more about the Safe Return program will be able to. And again, my website is LoriWilliams-seniorservices.com. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next week.